Good morning. I'm Nova Blake, and this is your complete political briefing for Friday, April 10th, 2026. Please subscribe our channel for daily bulletin. Today's bulletin is highly important to listen completely. Democrats post their best election night since Trump took office, winning Wisconsin by 20 points and nearly flipping a deep red Georgia seat. While Vice President Vance heads to Islamabad this weekend to lead fragile Iran peace talks, and a House Democrat files articles of impeachment against the president. Let's get into it. Starting with the top stories from across the American political landscape. Democrats delivered a stunning performance at the ballot box Tuesday, posting the largest overperformance in the Trump era in a single election night across two states. In Wisconsin, Democratic-backed judicial candidate Chris Taylor defeated Republican-backed Maria Lazar by approximately 20 percentage points for an open seat on the state Supreme Court, expanding liberals' advantage on the court to a 5-2 majority. Taylor's margin was the largest in a competitive Wisconsin Supreme Court race since the year 2000, in a state Donald Trump carried by less than 1 percentage point in 2024. In Georgia's special House runoff to replace former Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, Trump-backed Republican Clay Fuller won the seat with approximately 56% of the vote, but the result sent a warning signal to Republicans. Democrat Sean Harris, a retired Army brigadier general, earned 44%, a 25-point overperformance compared to his 2024 showing against Greene in the same district. Trump had won that district by 37 points in 2024, while Fuller won by fewer than 12 points, a swing of more than 25 points toward Democrats. The election results extend what is now an unbroken streak of Democratic overperformance across special elections and primaries in 2026. According to election analysts, Democrats have improved upon their 2024 presidential election margins by an average of 11 points in special elections so far this year, and approximately 13 points since the start of 2025. Democrats also recorded record primary turnout in Texas last month, with more people voting in the Democratic statewide contest than in the Republican one, and similar patterns emerged in North Carolina and Mississippi. Vice President J.D. Vance is traveling to Islamabad, Pakistan, this weekend to lead in-person peace talks with Iran as the two-week ceasefire heads into its first days. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt confirmed that Vance will be joined by Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner, with the first round of direct talks scheduled for Saturday morning, local time. The Islamabad talks represent the first face-to-face diplomatic engagement between the two sides since the war began 40 days ago. The ceasefire reached Tuesday evening is already showing signs of stress as Iran and the United States disagree publicly on what it actually says. Iran's parliament speaker Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf said Wednesday that the United States had clearly violated 3 of the ceasefire's 10 points. The central dispute is over uranium enrichment. Iranian state media included acceptance of enrichment in its Persian language version of the deal, a point that is missing from English language versions shared by Iranian diplomats, and that President Trump has explicitly rejected. President Trump blasted the NATO alliance Wednesday, following a 2-hour meeting at the White House with NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte, posting on Truth Social that NATO was not there when we needed them and will not be there if we need them again. Trump has repeatedly threatened to reassess or withdraw from NATO following European allies' refusal to join the United States-Israeli military campaign against Iran. Rutte acknowledged that some allies were a bit slow in providing support, while arguing that European nations are now providing massive backing for American operations through basing, logistics, and other measures. The Justice Department told the House Oversight Committee this week that former Attorney General Pam Bondi will not appear for her scheduled April 14th deposition, arguing she was subpoenaed in her capacity as Attorney General and no longer holds that role. The House Oversight Committee's top Democrat, Representative Robert Garcia of California, said the committee considers the subpoena valid regardless of Bondi's status and will pursue contempt proceedings if she does not cooperate. The bipartisan committee said it will contact Bondi's personal counsel to schedule a new deposition date. House Democrats attempted to force a war powers vote on Iran on Thursday morning during a pro forma session, though House Republican leadership blocked the effort. Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries wrote in a letter to Democratic colleagues inviting all members who are in Washington to join the effort on the House floor. The measure failed to advance, but Democratic leaders said they will immediately bring a formal war powers resolution to the floor when the full House returns from recess the week of April 13th. A House Democrat filed articles of impeachment against President Trump this week over his conduct in the Iran war. The filing adds to a wave of Democratic calls for presidential removal, including a separate effort by Representative Jamie Raskin and the House Judiciary Committee's Democratic members, who held a briefing this week on using the 25th Amendment to remove the president from office. Both impeachment and the 25th Amendment path face near-certain failure in a Republican-controlled Congress, but Democrats say they are building a public record of presidential conduct. Representative Yasamin Ansari of Arizona announced separately that she is introducing articles of impeachment against Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. Ansari cited the Iran war and alleged that Hegseth had repeatedly violated his oath of office and the Constitution by conducting military operations without congressional authorization. Her effort faces the same steep odds in the Republican-controlled House, where a prior set of Hegseth impeachment articles filed by another Democrat were referred to the Judiciary Committee and have not been acted upon. Now turning to Washington and the latest actions from the current administration, here are 10 significant developments from the administration this week. President Trump dispatched Vice President J.D. Vance, Special Envoy Steve Witkoff, and Jared Kushner to Islamabad, Pakistan, for in-person peace negotiations with Iran beginning this Saturday. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt confirmed the delegation and said the president's red lines, including no uranium enrichment in Iran, have not changed. The talks represent the administration's first direct negotiating engagement with Iranian officials since the conflict began on February 28th. The administration confirmed Wednesday that American offensive military operations against Iran have been suspended as part of the 2-week ceasefire, while United States forces remain in place in the Middle East on full combat readiness. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth said at a Pentagon briefing that American troops will stay put, stay ready, and stay vigilant to ensure Iran complies with the ceasefire terms. Hegseth added that all target packages are ready for immediate resumption if Iran violates the agreement. President Trump publicly stated Wednesday that Iran has undergone what he called a very productive regime change, and that Iran will not enrich uranium under the terms of the agreement. Iran disputed both claims publicly. The exact terms of the ceasefire have not been publicly released in a single agreed-upon text by either side, and significant gaps remain between the Iranian-described 10-point plan and the American-described 15-point proposal. Trump's supplemental Iran war funding request to Congress is expected to be significantly reduced from the originally floated $200 billion to something closer to $100 billion, according to reporting from multiple outlets. Senate Budget Committee Chairman Lindsey Graham said he is also pressing Senate Majority Leader John Thune to bypass normal committee procedures and send the budget resolution needed for the broader spending bill directly to the Senate floor. The administration has framed the reconciliation package as essential to fund defense, border security, and its broader domestic agenda in a single party line vote. The Department of Homeland Security shutdown entered its 53rd day this week, with no formal legislative resolution yet in place. House Speaker Mike Johnson and Senate Majority Leader Thune announced a 2-track plan to end the shutdown. Pass the Senate bill funding all of DHS except Immigration and Customs Enforcement, then fund ICE separately through reconciliation. The House is expected to vote on the Senate-passed DHS funding bill the week of April 13th, when Congress returns from recess. President Trump signed a presidential memorandum directing all Department of Homeland Security employees to receive back pay through executive authority, bypassing Congress to cover more than 35,000 workers who have been unpaid since February 14th. The memo covered Federal Emergency Management Agency workers, Coast Guard civilians, and Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency professionals. Legal analysts noted the administration has not publicly identified which specific appropriated funds are being used to cover the payments. Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche publicly confirmed this week that the Epstein investigation will not be a priority for the Department of Justice going forward. Blanche also appeared on national television to decline to comment on whether the department would pursue cases against specific political adversaries of President Trump. The House Oversight Committee, which issued the bipartisan subpoena to Bondi, said the department must still cooperate with the ongoing investigation and that contempt charges are being considered. The Trump administration's fiscal year 2027 budget proposal, released April 3rd, is now moving through the congressional process, with Senate Republicans looking to pass a budget resolution this month to unlock the reconciliation process. The budget requests $1.5 trillion for the Pentagon, a 42% increase, while proposing $73 billion in cuts to domestic programs, including clean energy, the Internal Revenue Service, agriculture, and education. Senate Majority Leader Thune is working to accelerate the process to get a party-line spending bill to Trump's desk before the summer. The administration signed an executive order earlier this week directed at stabilizing college athletics, establishing a 5-year eligibility window for college athletes, limiting undergraduate transfers, and directing federal agencies to withhold grants from universities that violate the governing body's rules. The order takes effect August 1, 2026, and legal experts widely expect immediate lawsuits from athletes and advocacy organizations. Trump has framed the order as necessary to restore order to a college sports industry he called a disaster. The Department of Justice's Office of Legal Counsel opinion declaring the Presidential Records Act unconstitutional, released earlier this week, is now drawing formal congressional scrutiny. Senate Democrats on the Judiciary Committee have sent letters to the administration demanding a full legal briefing on the opinion's scope and implications for oversight of executive branch records. Democrats warned the opinion, if applied by the administration, would effectively shield all presidential communications from congressional or archival review, setting a dangerous precedent for the separation of powers. That's your full briefing for Friday, April 10th, 2026. I'm Nova Blake. Stay informed, stay ahead. We'll see you next time.